Welcome to this month's Exploring Quality in Family Childcare. This month, we are talking about preparing future readers through print awareness. And we at Satellite are very excited to have Tammy Pineda come from the Madison Public Library to talk more about this topic. So I will turn it over to Tammy to take us through the rest of our event together.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for that present introduction. My name is Tammy Pineda. I am the Youth Services Manager here at the Madison Public Library. I have worked here as the Youth Services Manager for around 12 years, and I lead an incredible team of about 20 people who serve youth ages birth to 18 in the city of Madison. I work with an awesome team, and early literacy is a big part of what we think about every day. And I'm really honored to be asked to talk with you a little bit about what I know. Before I started in the library world, I worked for the MMSD, the Madison Metropolitan School District's early childhood, early learning department in a program that they call Play and Learn. And that program serves children uh, birth to, at that time, it was birth to 4, birth to 5. And it was a lovely experience for me. Later, I worked in another department of the school district as a bilingual resource teacher for 4K classrooms, supporting 4K teachers who have children who are not speaking English as their first language or who are learning um, English as a second language, say it that way. And later, I became a bilingual 4K teacher in a classroom. So I have been kind of working with young children and really passionate about early literacy. And I'm also a mother. This picture here on the screen is Noelia. Noelia is now a third grader here in Madison, but this picture makes me feel so much love, and she's been my best teacher as we go. So thank you for letting me incorporate some of her pictures. The agenda for today is pretty simple. We are going to talk about what is print awareness, why it's important, kind of what it looks like, and then I'm going to share some practical strategies that you could hopefully incorporate right away. I think that many of you are familiar with print awareness, and you're certainly already doing a lot of strategies to support it. I hope that today will just remind you about why this work is important, why you do what you do, and maybe give you some inspiration to try a couple new things as you support young children in your programs. So today I've been asked to talk about early literacy, which of course is what children know about reading and writing before they're actually reading and writing. And I'm sure you know that research shows that there are 6 specific skills that help children get ready to read, and they're listed on the screen. Today I'm only going to be talking about one of these important and fun skills that is print awareness. Have you ever watched a young child, holding a book, maybe upside down, and just telling the story as if they know exactly what they're saying and what this book is about by looking at the pictures with complete confidence that they know what the book says? Have you ever seen that? It's so fun. My heart kind of grows when I see that because it really indicates to me something really important, which is children love books and they're naturally curious about books. But they really do need some guidance from us to understand how books and print actually work. I looked up the definition of print awareness and I put it on the screen. It is a child's fundamental understanding that print carries meaning, that letters represent sounds, and that books work in a specific way, for example, front to back or left to right. Now, print awareness requires some pretty advanced brain development, right? It's pretty amazing. It means that a child starts to understand that these little scribbles that they see in front of them have certain shapes, and that these abstract shapes actually mean something, and that those shapes and scribbles can be combined with other shapes and scribbles to form a word and tell the whole story. And that is a lot for a little brain to figure out. It's pretty amazing. Probably why I became a children's librarian. When children have strong print awareness skills, they understand how books work, they notice text, and they understand that there's a difference between the pictures on the page and these little scribbly marks that are on the page. And they realize that those scribbles and marks, those letters and words, that they all mean something. They're telling a story. And when children have strong print awareness skills, they start noticing letters and words all around them in the world, which is magical and so fun. I love 4-year-olds who are noticing print around the world around them. It's pretty amazing. And it's amazing that our brain, that it can start to make connections about these lines and scribbles like this. But once a child's brain becomes aware that there's meaning in these scribbles, that is print awareness. And it's really the foundation for all the rest of what we learn about reading and writing. I get kind of excited about it myself. It's magical. I wanted to take a second to make sure that we remember what print awareness is not. It's not talking, they're both, letter recognition is really important. It's another important skill, but print awareness is not the same thing. Today we're talking not about knowing that this circle is the letter O and it sounds like oh, oh. That's not what we're talking about. This is not letter recognition. So print awareness is really understanding that scribbles have meaning. And we'll get to what is the name of that scribble in the other training. But today we're really talking about print awareness. So I just wanted to point out what we're not talking about. I wanted to ask a question. Do you remember, think back, what is the first book that you remember from your childhood? Maybe you can take a second and think about it and put it in the chat. What is the first book that you remember exploring as a child? For me, as I was thinking about this question, I remembered it very clearly. When I was about 3 years old, I was in Head Start, in the Head Start program. And I remember books were a big part of Head Start. But the book that I remember first and foremost in the back of my brain is the Bernstein Bears book. And I had to look it up this morning. That book is called Bears in the Night. I can picture it. I know what the story is about. I remember how that story made me feel. This little sneaky bear sneaks out of bed. He goes out the window, down the tree, over the bridge. I remember just thinking, what are you talking about? This is amazing. And I still to this day remember the feelings that I had. I knew that that story I had strong feelings about that book, and I had these feelings about that book before I could actually read that book. And when I borrowed the book from my Head Start classroom, I took it home and I sat and I read it over and over again. Again, I was about 3 or 4 years old, and I really think in my imagination that this is the time that I fell in love with books and reading. What I didn't know was that at that moment I was strengthening my print awareness skills, but I know how it made me feel and the effect it had on me. And I get really excited thinking about this for children that I work with today. looking at the pictures, retelling the story, understanding that there was magic in the scribbles of this book. This is what gets me excited about early literacy. I'm going to take a minute to look in the chat here and see some of your ideas. Oh, I love it. El gato en botas, of course. Jack and Jill. Oh, yeah, the three bears. The monster at the end of this book. Oof, that's another one. Do you remember? Can you picture it in your mind what the book looks like and what the pages look like, where Grover's hiding behind the wall and he's like, do not turn that page. And you're just like so excited to turn the page. Oh, these books are making me so happy. The Little Red Hen. Thank you for sharing those. Oh, makes me feel so good. So I'm gonna move forward to talking about some practical strategies when you are working with young children in your program. Creating rich print experiences in your program doesn't require a lot of fancy materials. You don't have to spend a lot of money or create any complex lesson plans. Really, the magic happens in naturally throughout the day during your normal routines with kids, um, and with lots of books and print in your environment. And let me add, it's never too early to start this work. So, when thinking about print awareness with babies and toddlers, we think about opportunities for them to hold on to the book, to play with the book, to chew on the book. I know some people are like, don't put that dirty book in your mouth, but it is a way that kids are like figuring out what is this thing? What is this thing? They were made to be board books for that reason. We knew that babies were going to put them in their mouths. So let them put it in their mouth. It's okay. Even library books, it's okay if they put it in their mouth. We do try to clean them. We can let babies help them to turn the pages. We can play with the books in their environment, but creating lots of opportunities. And in a moment, I'm going to share some of those books that I am talking about today that I'm excited about that work with babies. For 2 and 3-year-olds, of course, let them play with books. Put them, if they're playing kitchen, put the books in the kitchen. If they're playing with the blocks, set some books around their environment everywhere. Also, this is a great age to start pointing out environmental print wherever you go. The the age that you can already tell, the age that I really love talking about are 3, 4, and 5-year olds. And when you see, because this is when you can really push them a little bit more in all the things. And in print awareness, it's so fun. This is magical. When you see your child looking through a book or when you're reading together, you can really use that opportunity to ask some more advanced kinds of questions to introduce print. You should point to words, show them what you're saying, and what is written when you're reading, pointing to them, modeling to them. It models that we read from left to right, we read from top to bottom. So you can be really intentional at this age with modeling this behavior. Help them follow along with you and really understand how the text is working. You can also start asking more advanced questions like, oh, where should I start reading on this page? Or where's the top of the book? You can definitely start pointing out. I know it feels weird with a 3-year-old to be like the author of this book, but it really is a good time to sort of make a connection. And I always say it like the guy who drew the pictures or the lady who wrote this book, her name is right here. And then I'll point to it and tell them what that is. And that's okay for this age. Let them read the book themselves. That's fine. Let them do it and have a great time. Be playful. One of the strategies that I used in story times a lot is to take the book and hold it upside down and be like, today I'm reading this awesome book. and just kind of wait for them to notice that the book is upside down and let them catch you being wrong. They love when you're wrong. I'm gonna read this book. What's wrong? Oh my gosh, this is upside down. Let me turn that over. That's right. Here's the title right here. Devuélvame mi libro. You were right. I was wrong. That kind of thing can be really playful and fun and really encourage kids to notice what's happening when you're sharing books. This is a great age to model noticing letters everywhere, like to a point that it seems slightly obsessive. So I remember in my classroom that my kids were learning the first letter of their name, the first letter, and they were very possessive of the first letter of their name. So we would notice those letters everywhere we went. I would find lots of opportunities to put the first letters of all of the students' names in strategic places around the classroom so that when they're over there playing with the cars, they will say, "Oh, there's that sign. It starts with S or whatever," right? But really trying to build in playful opportunities to point out words everywhere you go, whether you're in the kitchen, in the bathroom, on a walk, whatever you're doing, um, make a point to point out words. Um, I guess I made a note in my notes saying that it's also valuable to have a child's name around your space in multiple locations because the words that, in my experience, the words that kids are um, most motivated to learn, or the letters that they're most motivated to learn, are the ones in their name first, and then the names of their friends and family members. So have that around as much as you can. I wanted to ask you another book question. So open your chat and share with us. What are your favorite books that you enjoyed reading as a child, that you enjoy reading with the children in your program? What are some of the books that you can think of that you've read this month that you know your kids love? The Hungry Caterpillar, Cat in the Hat, Brown Bear, Brown Bear. The Bad Seed, yay. All the Dr. Seuss books. There's something magical about the Dr. Seuss books. Even Noelia, my daughter, who's in third grade, and she's learning to read in English and Spanish. And she loves to read a lot of books, but Dr. Seuss, I think, helps her feel more independent and that she can like read it fast without stumbling. And it's really magical. There's something magical about Dr. Seuss. Ooh, Lois Eller, yes. Rainbow Fish, El Pez Arcoiris, Green Eggs and Ham. You guys got it. All right. Well, I have some examples of books that I love and that I think are really great books to help support print awareness, and I'd love to share them with you next. The best way, of course, to help children understand concepts of print is to model how it works, and that means that you need to read together a lot. I want to highlight some books that work really well for strengthening children's concepts of print, and I'll start with the older kids because, as you can see, I love 4-year-olds. They're magical. This book kind of came to mind. This is an older book, I think, from 2016 maybe, and it literally is talking about print awareness. And I want to read to you a description of what this book is about. A young boy wants to write a story, just like his big sister. But there's a problem, he tells her. Though he knows his letters, he doesn't know many words. Every story starts with a single word, and every word starts with a single letter, his sister explains patiently. Why don't you start there with a letter? So the boy tries. He writes a letter, an easy letter, the letter I. And from that one skinny letter, the story grows, and the little boy discovers that all of us, including him, have what we need to write our own perfect story. It's so good. I'm so excited about this book. What's magical about this book, the story is shown both as he actually writes it, so the scribbles and the beginning of letters, and some punctuation mark and symbols, but that it also shows it how he imagines that he's writing it. And I think there's magic in that moment, right? So I really encourage you to check out this Andrew Larson book, The Squiggly Story. And I think it's only in English. I believe it's only in English. I should look though, because it would be great to have it in Spanish. We talked a little bit about the lovely magic that happens when kids start seeing print in their environment. And using books that show print in our environment is a really neat way to make a connection to the real world. And I wanted to point out that the library has books that are fictional and non-fictional that can help you sort of introduce this concept of signs and what signs in our environment have to say. If I were to use this kind of book, for example, maybe I would show a few of these books and then we could go for a walk and see what signs we could find. And this is really fun for kids at this age. When I was looking for books that I love that help promote print awareness, the first one that came to my mind is one of my favorites. It's called Moo by David La Rochelle. And this book is hilarious. And I took a shot, as you can see in the slide, of the text. The text is really fun in this book. There aren't a lot of words. In fact, mostly the words are moo. But imagine you're reading about this story about a cow who steals the farmer's cow and or the farmer's car and goes for a drive. And look, he's going up and down the hills. Moo. How magical is that? I won't ruin the punchline, but there is a crash involved, and there's a hilarious page where the police officer is trying to get information from the cow about what happened with this crash, and the cow tries to explain it, and he says, "Moo, moo, 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 moo." It's hilarious. Kids love it. And it's a great way to sort of point out the way text is used in the story. I love this book. It's so much fun. I also really enjoy showing kids how speech bubbles work. It's another great strategy to kind of help kids notice text. Speech bubbles help kids read by providing visual cues that connect the character to the words visually, but it also kind of helps oftentimes show emotion. I love these books, and think about it. A young kid who doesn't know how books work is just seeing this colored circle with some scribbly lines in it and doesn't know that that's what this red monster is actually saying. So finding fun opportunities, and there are so many books that have speech bubbles that are fantastic. I bet you know which other one I'm thinking of. It's magical. Elephant and Piggy! Woo! Mo Willems really gets early literacy, and he has such brilliant ways to incorporate funny, simple stories in text that kids from 3 to 16 get a real kick out of and love to read all of Mo Willems' books. I'm specifically pointing out how much I love Elephant and Piggy. As you can see, there's the elephant, there's the pig. The elephant often will totally freak out and either, like in this picture, have a very happy moment where the text gets really big in the speech bubble, banana, and then they're cracking up, ha ha ha, that's hilarious. Or what usually happens is the elephant is absolutely freaking out about something, and the text just takes up the whole two-page spread. It's totally hilarious, but it is really an effective way to help kids make connection between what is written there and how the character's feeling, right? Again, we're talking about these little scribbles are conveying some kind of message here. And it is magical when kids can start feeling like they understand, right? They might not know that HA says ha ha ha, but when they're looking at this page, they absolutely get it. Here's another one of my favorite Elephant and Piggy pages. They think that they're going to learn how to fly and they're trying to figure it all out. Fly, 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 fly. You only have to say that to a kid once and they can read this page and they love it and they think it's hilarious. Also, note to yourself, these little jumpy lines on the bottom, you could follow it with your finger. Boink, 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 boink. Oh, those little lines, they have meaning too, and they're not letters, but they do tell part of the story. So this is just a great example of another way that you can use a book to sort of highlight different ways that text and things on the page are telling stories. I love Elephant and Piggy, and I love Mo Willems. Elephant and Piggy is, of course, in Spanish as well. Another author that cracks me up and I love so much is any title by Jan Thomas. As you can see, she is brilliant at making her characters super simple and big, minimalistic, but also using the text in the most dramatic and obnoxious way. Like this page that says no, right? So when I'm reading it, I see the text is big. I'm gonna read it in a big, crazy voice to demonstrate that when you see text written in capitals and really big, that means there's some big emotions. And how would we ever read this like, no, fat cat will not sit on the chicken or the pig? No way! You have to read it like this. No! Fat cat will not sit on the chicken or the pig. Hee hee hee. My screen is covering, oh yeah, yippee. My screen was covering the part where it said yippee, but I knew there was something else there. Again, as you're reading this, I would be pointing to it and I would be pointing to yippee, right? To make sure that their eye catches. There's something there too. Those little pink scribbles also mean something. I love Jam Thomas. Here's another Jan Thomas book, The Doghouse. I mean, there's so many. There's so many of her books. Duck is, Duck is, well, Duck is noisy. Quack, 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 quack. Oh my God, I love this page. I love Jan Brett, or Jan Thomas. Jan Brett is another one, but Jan Thomas. Look for books like, actually, I'm going to pull up my notes here. Look for books that have interesting text too. That's like this book, Hooray for Fish by Lucy Cousins. Look how the pez boca arriba y peces. I'm covering up half the words here, sorry. Girantes. Look how it kind of flows. It kind of looks like it is underwater, the text. It kind of just makes your eye catch text in a different way. And I love any Lucy Cousins books are great. Another Mo Willems book that I'm going to mention really quickly is your pal Mo Willems presents Leonardo, the Terrible Monster. I love this picture book too. It's really big on your shelf. It's fun to hold it, but this little page shows you this character who is totally having a breakdown, meltdown, freaking out about something. And so this would be a really fun book to read out loud and to, again, point to, use your dramatic voice while you're pointing to the words to demonstrate how this child it has something to say and he's yelling it and crying, but that these words up here mean something. My mean big brother stole my action figure right out of my hands, blah, blah, blah. So I love this story. And again, any book by Mo Willems is going to be magical. Oh, yes. Kate McMullen has written more than 100 books, and including this one, which is an award-winning book called I Stink. Um, and this is a page that it says, "Know what I do at night while you're asleep? Eat your trash. That's what." And this whole book is just hilarious like this. But I love this page. You're seeing letters in different colors. You're saying A is for apple, B is for banana, and it's just a fabulous story. With 10 wide tires, one really big appetite, and an even bigger smell, this garbage truck's got it all. His job, eating your garbage and loving every stinky second of it. And you thought nighttime was just for sleeping. Oh, this is such a good book. Just a couple suggestions for books with babies. I found this one where it's not a great picture, but there are board books that have interesting moving text, like this one, babies, babies everywhere. They're on the floor and in my hair. Right, so this is still meant for babies, but you can easily follow along with your finger and just kind of plant the seed that there's something. These little black squiggles and shapes, there's something going on with them, right? Um, so I love that. Are many, many board books like that. I also found these Usborne finger trail books, and there are lots of these too, and they actually literally have little trails that babies can put and toddlers could put their finger in and kind of follow along. And again, I just think it's an interesting concept to introduce kids to the idea that this is a shape and it means something. So I really I'm kind of loving these finger trail books. And Usborne has several of these drawing letters and numbers and just plain squiggly lines that are kind of similar to pre-writing markings. More board books, all of them, they're amazing. Pika Who. So this book has a lot of animals, and of course, the baby's really going to be the child's going to be focusing on the images. But I think there's that the text is used in such a way that um, you can kind of see Pika Moo or whatever the words are, but you can like see similarity. Maybe kids would start noticing that those words are kind of saying something too. Of course, I'm sure you have all these books, these touch and feel kind of books. I loved this one because it kind of is touch and feel, but it's sort of helping kids again notice these shapes that are called letters. And this would be another great example of books that would be fun to use with babies. So I'd be really, oh, here's another one that I don't know if this is like the greatest example here, but I love this book. So any of these board books for babies that are incorporating pictures and big words. And this one is specifically magical because there's real babies and there's drawings of children. They're teaching, there's like a little parent education moment where it's kind of giving a message to the caregiver. Squeeze the tips of your fingers together like you're holding a tasty sandwich, then move your hand to your mouth. That means eat. So there's so much learning going on here. Babies will love this book, but I also thought that it was kind of brilliant how they're using text in these books. Eat, yum. And I would be pointing to them, slurp, slurp, right, with your baby as you read and share these books. So I just had to point that one out. So these are some of the books that I have in my mind today, and I'm really happy to share them with you. I'd love to know if anyone has any questions that you'd like to ask or a strategy that you've used that you think works really well that maybe I didn't think of today. You could put it in the chat.
Tammy, while folks are thinking of questions that they have remaining, I have one. Can I ask you one?
Oh, good.
Do you have suggestions for, say, helping support a child who helping support interest in print for children who struggle to, say, like sit and focus on a book with an adult? Do
Hmm.
you have any suggestions for boosting like engagement with print for those movement seekers that we have?
I mean, never heard of that. No, we have so many kids in story time who really have a hard time sitting and in a circle or sitting in a group of kids to watch a story. And our message is always like keep doing it, keep modeling it and incorporating print in playful ways into the things that they are doing. So trying to think of a great example, but let's see. So I used to have a student who was 4 and couldn't sit still. So I would try to incorporate, and he loved flannel boards. He loved to come up specifically when I was doing a flannel board and pull the flannel board off the board, right? So I tried to find strategy. For example, I would, instead of doing little mouse, are you behind the green house? I started doing um, using letters and hiding letters behind the flannel board. So he would just want to come up and he would want to pull off the house and he would want to find what the letter is. But then I would just take that little second to say, "Oh, you found the letter M. That's like Miguel's name. Miguel has that letter. And then that's it. We just move on, right? So I don't know, just finding ways to incorporate text in the environment and in the activities that the kid is excited about is sort of what I'm thinking. And let them carry around books. You can take the book. You don't have to keep it in the living room. Go take it wherever you're going or whatever. So that's what comes to my mind. I love that question.
And then another question for you. This is exciting that we have time for questions because we have a librarian here to share with us their knowledge. Kathleen wants to know, at what point do we teach the kids to respect the books?
That's a fascinating question. I have visited 4K classrooms where the teachers say we don't let the kids play with the books because we only get 30 books for the year and they're very special and we don't have a budget to replace them. So we just put them over there on the shelf and wait for story time, right? And that is so sad. That is sad. I get it. I get it. I think there are ways to, I think from the very beginning, there are ways to show respect for the books, to model that we're going to put this book back on the shelf. Certainly not with babies, but I think that right away with toddlers, it's okay. But my mind is, you know what it reminds me of is when my daughter was little and I had this really pretty dress and somebody gave it to me. It was so gorgeous and I put it in the closet and said, I'm not gonna use this dress until a very special occasion comes. And by the time, like literally 3 months later, a special occasion came, the dress didn't fit, right? So just put the books out, let them play with them. Respect as in, we don't tear the book, we don't color in the book. Those are things that kids have to learn, and the only way to learn is to like let them play around with it and model that for them. And that's a good question, but I think right from the beginning is what my gut is saying. There are actually studies about families who don't let their children check out library books because they're scared that their kids are gonna damage the books, right? And most libraries have gone fine free now, but like my message is always like if it's a rip, we can tape it. If it is colored in, we'll try to erase it. Like let your kids check out books. Can you imagine? Oh, let them take them. It's okay.
There's some responses to our discussion that we just had and you answering that question. And Janita says, that's true. I replace books more than toys. And Kathy says, I have books that they have access to and ones that I don't put out as well.
I really like that. I really like that. And maybe sometimes like those board books can be good ones to just throw around and whatever. And then you have your very special story time books kind of put up. Or have two copies, one for them to play with. Because if it's a storytime book that they really love, you also want them to play with it, right? So I think one thing is like, don't touch it. Another thing is like, when you're using this book, you have to be really gentle. When you're using this book, remember, we cannot color in this book. If you want to color, you can use this paper over here, but not in our books because they're really special, right? So I love how you're thinking about that.
Especially, if you are purchasing your own books for your program, um, that it does add up because especially really high quality, nice books, they are not cheap. So I do understand the like hesitancy of, we want to keep our things um, nice and so that we can use them for a long time. So I definitely just want to acknowledge too, like you were saying, Tammy, that hesitancy of, especially when you're purchasing your own books. Um,
Absolutely.
and Kathleen says, I utilize Goodwill to get duplicates of our favorite books.
I love that. I've also seen teachers do like adopt our classroom and asking people to purchase books for their classroom that can be kind of used. And it is tricky. I totally get it. I'm completely aware of how difficult it can be to keep your stuff nice when you're letting them play. But I also see such incredible value in letting them play with those books and modeling to them how to do it, right? Modeling to them, this is the Three Billy Goats Gruff book. We're going to act it out. So let's look at the first page. Where is, what is happening on the first page? Let's act that out, right? But always modeling things. I see value in that too. There's something else I was going to say about that. Oh, I was going to talk about the library and just say that many libraries, I don't know how it works outside of Madison, but here in Madison, if you are a home child care provider, you can actually get what's called an organizational card, which is means that it's not you and yourself responsible if something happens, but also we have a little bit more leniency if a book goes missing or is damaged, if it's on an organizational card. So I did want to throw that out. It might be something worth looking at. And libraries usually understand. If something happens to one of your library books, you should feel comfortable to talk to the librarian and see if they can work out a deal with you. I totally get it.
I also want to say that, you all do a lot every day and you're responsible for a lot. And I know, um, I would assume that some of those books that Tammy went over are new. You hadn't heard of some of those books, or maybe you had, and you're really in on the newest children's literature out there. So that's just another plug. Use your local librarian. They are more aware of the books that are coming out that are high quality, and they can help take off some of that, um, some of that mental load that you have trying to think about what are the books that would be beneficial for use in my program, or like what's new out there.
I love that. I was literally going to say that, and I think as we wrap up this session, just really appreciate the time to talk with you all. Again, I think that a lot of you are doing a lot of these things already, but it's really nice to talk about, to remind ourselves that what you're doing is pretty magical and super important, and to keep doing what you're doing. I hope that I inspired you to use a lot of books in your program. And I do, as Grace said, encourage you to reach out to your local librarians to ask for more ideas if this was inspiring to you. My name and email is here. If you ever wanted to just email me, I would be happy to share ideas about a certain age group or about books in Spanish. We do have a lot of books here at the Madison Public Library in other languages, but specifically in Spanish. Um, a couple years ago, we went to the Guadalajara International, La Feria Internacional del Libro, International Book Fair in Guadalajara, and we were able to purchase a bunch of books that were from publishers in Latin America and Spain, and a lot of books, we were prioritizing books that were authentic text, so not like Elephant and Piggy translated into Spanish, but books that were actually written in Spanish. So, if you ever wanted to try to find some of our books, you can request them at your library. So let's say you live in La Crosse, you can go to the La Crosse Public Library and ask for a book that maybe they don't have, but it exists in Madison. Talk to the librarian, they can totally send you the book from Madison. It's a whole thing, but we're all friends and we share books. So use all of your resources and ask questions of your librarian if you want to get access to more books. And thank you so much for this fun conversation. I really appreciate Grace and Miguel and everybody for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, Tammy. I know we had some chat messages come through with thank yous and great presentation with lots of ideas, and people have already, I think when you were um, about halfway through, some of our educators on this call were already like, all right, it's time to go to the library. So thank you so much for coming and talking about this important topic.